every Monday night.
We'd like to say that, in our opinion, it is not suitable for children.
Every Monday night?
Or for those of you who may have a nervous disposition.
Every Monday night.
And every Monday night.
Then we have a super sound DJ.
Sean Cook.
Good people, it is my pleasure to present to you
Sean Cook.
the one and only
Sean Cook.
Hello, hello, and welcome to the show. Hello, 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 welcome to the show.
So let's have fun, 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 fun.
Stand by for action.
Oh, Sean Cook.
Okay, so let's hopefully now we're going to have a Mr. McClaran on the telephone. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Hello.
Hello there. Would that be Mark McClaran from the Soniks?
Hello, mate. Is that Andy?
It certainly is. It's Mark. Hello, Mark. How are you?
I'm okay, thanks, mate.
Good, good,
Yeah,
good.
it's
It's
Mark.
Cookie. It's Cookie here from Target Radio, alongside with Andy
right,
Topp-Walker.
Hello, Mark. How you doing?
Hello, mate. Yeah, fine, thanks. You?
Good stuff. Yeah, very well, thanks, mate. Yes.
Right. Okay. So crack on with an interview then, if that's okay with your good self.
Yeah, go for it.
Marvellous. So the Soniks. Tell us a little bit about the Soniks. How did you get its name, and where are you going with it?
That sort of started off, it sort of came about, I was in a couple of projects sort of up in Hertfordshire, where I was living before.
Okay.
I was in a couple of sort of bands that kind of tried to get off the ground, didn't really get off the ground. And then I joined a band which you probably heard of called The Most. And I was with The Most for about a year-ish, something like that, and kind of had the kind of hankering to move on and sort of start doing my own thing. Anyway, it sort of came about that I sort of put together my own band, and the Soniks name actually came from sort of, the Sonics Kicks, Sonic Kicks, the Paul Weller album.
Ah, there it is.
That's where it actually came from. And first of all, I was kind of thinking, I'll call it Sonic Kicks. I thought, no, that's actually probably a bit too much. That just sounds like an album name. We won't call it that. And I thought, actually, what about we just call it the Sonics?
Yeah, just pluralise it. That's it. Fantastic.
So came up with that name, and so this was sort of back in about June, really, last year, and sort of put out some ads and got a couple of guys together and started rehearsing, and it went from there really, and we sort of came up with a couple of ideas, and I always had a whole load of ideas for songs. And what I wanted to do was sort of, I knew there were loads of cover bands out there, so wanted to do covers anyway, obviously.
Of course, yeah.
Crowd-pleasing stuff. At the same time, I wanted to do a little bit of original stuff, so sort of came up with the first idea for a single, and we recorded that back in just sort of mid-November.
Okay.
Yeah. And put that one out, and it kind of is one of those things that kind of I think myself I kind of realised quite how quickly things start to move, and then you sort of get your head around the social media side of it, which of course is a mixed blessing, as we all know.
Well, yeah, it could be your world's worst enemy, or it could be your best provider of sort of getting your music out there to the general public and seeing what their reactions are. Some of them, obviously, some reactions are probably going to be better than others, just be honest, yeah. Some of them are going to kill you and hate you and, follow you around to the ends of the world, and others are just going to really love what you do, and obviously those are the ones that you want,
Exactly. I mean, I kind of knew a lot of but certainly the bands around in Essex, and some of them in Hertfordshire. And I think, some of the people that aren't maybe into the whole scene are just not aware of how big this scene actually is. You only have to look at the listings for March and the Mods.
Of course,
Absolutely.
And realise how incredibly big the whole scene is. Which obviously you guys know, and. So yeah, and we shunted the single out to Mod Radio, and that got that won their sort of record of the week thing there, which was good for us to have a little bit of a platform there.
Yeah, indeed. Now, for me, that's that concept of having a sort of a record of the week by an unsigned band. I'm one of a true believer that I think there shouldn't be a competition between unsigned bands, purely because I think everyone should have a platform, and whether you win, lose, or draw, it doesn't matter. So my concept of our radio station here at Target Radio is everyone gets a fair crack of the whip, and if it's an unsigned band, guess what? They take preference over anything like the Who, the Kinks, the Small Faces. Purely because you are unsigned, you know.
And I agree. I won't go into all the ins and outs of what happened in our experiences with that.
Yeah,
situation.
that's it. Move on.
I won't go into that, but I would say that I do. Yeah, I do agree with you, because I think what inevitably happened there was, you get allegiances, you get kind of rivalries, you get local rivalries.
Well, of course you do,
all that sort of crap that goes on. And the problem being that, yes, I know we just said that it's a big scene, but the point is a lot of that scene is people playing cover versions. So they admit themselves that they just have to throw in all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
For unsigned. Now, my personal opinion is, well, hang on a minute. I mean, okay, we could argue forever, like they do on social media, about what is mod and what isn't mod. You know.
Well, that is such in the air, isn't it? Let's be fair. I mean, anything could be mod if it's liked by mod sort of minded people. My view is, if it sounds great, it fits into a certain genre of sort of music where you got the R&B sort of element to it. Yes, it's going to be mod, but then they say the Killers could be mod, or, all these sort of newer bands. Someone said it the other day, and I couldn't believe my ears, but then I thought, well, hang on a minute, there's a possibility that young Ed Sheeran could have been a mod. I mean, let's take away the beard and the sort of ginger hair for a minute. I mean, not saying that anyone ginger can't be mod, but the beard, no, it has to go to a point, because obviously most mods are very clean shaven. But some of his music, it's absolutely inspirational. Take away some of the other stuff he's done. Some of his stuff could really go down that path. But anyway, we diverse a little bit. So let's go back to you and obviously the Soniks. So so Mark McClaran, you're the lead vocal and guitar player, and introduce us to our band. Then we've got Rob Singston. Is that right? Is that
Singston? Yeah, Rob's from Canvey.
Not Canvey Island, not that place. No.
Or is that, we like to call it the People's Republic of Canvey.
I love it, absolutely love it. And he's the bass player there, yeah?
He's the bass player, yeah. He's been, again, he's done the rounds in the Essex scene. He's played for the most. He was in a band called The Start. So Rob's done, he's got a wealth of experience in the scene. He's come on board fairly recently. And we're just sort of settling him into the setup now. So
fantastic.
He's just actually played his first gig with us a couple of weeks ago. So
was he nervous?
No, I don't know if he might be. I think in a way it's funny, isn't it? Because I think probably most people who really take pride in what they're doing, in a band, they might have played 1 million gigs, and they're still going to be nervous because they want to do the best for themselves.
And that, Mark, is the correct answer. I think when you stop getting nervous, and I think I'm going to quote here a line from some old pensioner, I can't remember his name now, he fronted a band called The Who. He said he got nervous every time he went on stage, Mr. Daltrey did, and for him to turn around and say, and many gigs he's probably done in the past, to him to turn around and say, I still get nervous, is absolutely brilliant to hear that, because obviously he takes a lot of pride in what he does,
Exactly.
So that's a brilliant answer. Now, Paul Campbell on the drums there.
Yeah.
Now tell us a bit about Paul.
Yeah, Paul's from Southend. He's a sort of he's played in a little bit in a couple of bands, and then he sort of came to me when it's like you put out an ad for somebody, and you'll get 1 million people coming back, and they go like, I've played in this band, and you look at you go like, you've got any media, look at the media, and it's kind of like, okay, you're a good drummer, but you're not going to fit into what we do.
No, indeed. Well, it's got to be right for you guys, it has to be right, it has to sound right, and at the end of the day, if you've got enough drummers to work through, then you want to get the best you possibly can for your own band. Of course you do, yeah.
And he was right into the scene, you know. He's very he's into the sort of you know, he's got his scooter and he's into the mod scene, and he's, you know, he what I really loved about when I was sort of talking to Paul was that he just really loved the music.
Fantastic. That's all you could ask for, really. And and make sure he can play.
Yeah.
Now, I can just imagine Paul rocking up to a gig on his scooter with a drum kit behind him. How's he going to do that? There we go. Answers on the back of a postcard, please. So you're a three-piece band, is that correct?
We're a three-piece band. We bring in, we've got a Hammond player. We'll bring in, if we've got a big enough gig.
Yes, of course.
You know, if we've got the space on the stage and it's a big enough gig, we'll bring in a Hammond player called Rick Jones.
Rick Jones?
He's from Chelmsford. And we bring him in, and he sort of gives that nice big sound. He played on our single as well.
Fantastic. Now, tell us a little bit about the single before I hand you over to Andy, because I know he's salivating here. He wants to obviously answer you a couple of questions. Now, your single that you've released, now, I believe it's in connection with a well-known charity as well. Is that right?
That's right, for Mind, yeah. And actually, you know, when you sort of listen to the lyrics, it's pretty obvious what it's about, actually. It's funny because I guess it's one of those don't judge a book by its cover type of thing, because it's a pretty upbeat sort of sounding song, but in actual fact that conveys exactly the message that I was trying to get over, which is that, like, hang on a second, you've got, you know, got this person. I mean, it's weird, isn't it? It's the old British thing, isn't it? How are you? I'm fine, thanks. And then you walk away and say, why did I say I'm fine?
Indeed, yeah. We do that in restaurants. How's the food? It's lovely. They walk away and think, oh, this is tough. This steak is tougher than me blooming shoe leather. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. So all the proceeds are going to Mind then. That is fantastic.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this is where we have to come, you know, releasing the single sort of dragged me kicking and screaming into the sort of, like, you know, previously when I'd released stuff, it was sort of it would be CDs or vinyl even. But you know, suddenly you're into this thing where, well, hang on a second, you know, I've got to get my head around all this digital distribution. And as you're no doubt aware, the really downside of digital distribution is that there's a huge great lag between when you actually put something out, because there's nothing physical. It's not like you're going out and selling a CD.
Of course, yeah.
And then you've got this drag between when you actually put the thing out and when the money actually comes back to you.
Indeed.
And because of that drag, it was hilarious, because, you know, we're doing all right with it. You know, we've got something like 20,000 streams, but because of that drag, the other day I sort of saw a statement come through. It says your statement says that you've earned 0.01 of a penny.
Now that is absolutely fantastic. You can almost get a glass, not a pub. You know, in the pub, you get the glass, but you won't get nothing in it yet.
Not exactly.
You're getting close to it. You got it quite close to the pump where the alcohol arrives from. Yeah.
So we're waiting for that to come down the line. But overall, it's gone out to pretty much every platform out there. So, you know, sort of Google, YouTube, Amazon, Deezer, Spotify. It's out on all those platforms.
It's there, folks. It's there. You've just got to search for it. I'm going to hand you over to Andy, because obviously he's done a lot of the groundwork here for us. So obviously I applaud him for that. So Andy, I think you've got a couple of questions you'd like to ask.
I have. Thank you, Sean. Hello, Mark.
Hi, Andy. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, man. First question for you. What are your main impulses to write?
Oh, blimey. I definitely would fall into the camp of, actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because I don't know if anybody saw it, but I was watching a programme about David Bowie last night.
No, I didn't.
There was
I've recorded it.
Oh, do you want me not to spoil it? I won't tell you if you
don't do a spoiler alert as such. Yeah, don't do a spoiler alert.
I'll just give you one little spoiler alert.
Go on then. I'm going to put my fingers in my ears.
It's basically, it's Tony Visconti sort of saying, you know, we've got this track. I think it was various tracks for his album, and he was, you know, sort of living in the big old mansion down in Beckenham, paying £7 a week or something. You know, he's going, and there's Tony Visconti saying, like, are you going to actually write some lyrics? Yeah, I'll write some lyrics. Goes outside. About an hour later, walks outside, is David still pissing about? So it's not actually written any lyrics. And he said, the lyrics for this stuff was written like half an hour before, we actually laid down the track. I'm not that bad, but I would say I'm definitely sort of person that will come up with a riff. I'll come up with some music, and then I'll kind of think, well, okay, what does that convey? What do I want to put with it? And then I'll sort of write lyrics around what I've actually written, rather than the other way around. I never sort of write a set of lyrics and then go, I'll put some music to it. So that's my process. And with State of Mind, it was the same thing. I kind of had this idea of like coming up with the riff of it, and then it was actually afterwards that I kind of thought, actually I'd really like to do this, and this thing came into my mind, this chorus came into my mind, so I thought, well, I'd actually really like to put something out that says that, and wouldn't it be great if it's actually quite it's an upbeat track, but it's actually the subject matter is pretty serious. It's not sort of so it kind of does exactly what you would expect, when you're talking about somebody that's wandering around. On the outside, they're looking fine. Don't think there's anything wrong, but when you dig a bit deeper, there is. But that's definitely my process. I'll always sort of like come up with some riff and then sort of flesh it out, and might have a chorus but no verse, and go that way round.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that one. So, the next question is, what actually drew you into the music industry?
Oh blimey! What drew me into I just kind of, when I saw people, I was one of those people I'd learned, like everybody, I think everybody learns recorder at school, don't they? That's the first thing they stick.
And I was lousy at that.
Anyway. I might be aging myself there, but
I couldn't do it either.
Yeah, stick thing, you think, God, that makes the right old racket. I don't really want to play that. And then they got a violin in my hands, and I thought, that's even worse. It's got to be about grade 8 before you sound any good on this thing.
Yeah.
And I sort of came into possession of an old classical guitar, which I sort of then started strumming sort of chords out on. And I think, I just, once I'd done that, if you've got that in you, I think you just pick up something and you're just going to go with it from there. And from there on, I've just been playing, and I've been through a lot of different types of bands, to be honest. And I think you get into a situation where everybody gets a bit time constrained, so you can't sort of focus on too many different types of music unless you're a professional session musician. Which is why kind of, I've just always loved, as a guitar player, I've just always really loved that sort of early 60s, before things got absolutely mental type of thing. But I've always loved that sort of guitar sound. So I just love getting a Marshall amp and getting it just onto the edge of, when it's just breaking up, and, like the sort of type of stuff, Small Faces, Kinks. I just love that sort of guitar sound. Once it gets a bit heavier than that, I'm afraid I kind of clock out a bit. So.
Yeah, sure. So is it when you're writing, are you constantly writing, or do you take notes and then put something together?
Yeah, I don't write. I kind of go in phase. For me, it goes in phases. It's like buses. I'm about, oh my God, hang on, I haven't finished that one. Suddenly I've got this other idea, better get that down as well. And then I could go for months with, not a lot happening, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it's like, we've got 3 or 5, I've got about 3 or 4 different things that come along in the last month or so. And then, before that, when I was setting up the band, I wasn't really writing much then, because it was kind of just really sort of getting the set list together and doing all that stuff. So, it's definitely sort of comes in waves.
That's brilliant. That's a great answer as well. Now, you had a gig last night, is that correct? At the Shoebury Conservative Club, is that right?
Not last night. We had one last week.
Oh, last week. Sorry, I do apologise.
Yeah, last week.
The Players Sports Bar in Southend-on-Sea. Was that the one?
That wasn't.
No,
the one
that wasn't there. I do apologise. There we go.
Have played there, yeah.
No, not yet. That's the George III. There we are.
It. Yeah. We
that
played
was
there
it.
last week. Yeah.
Excellent. And how did that go?
It was really good. It was a great gig, actually, considering the fact that was the day that the media were saying to you that you'd be crazy to even put one foot outside the front door.
The snow.
because snow was everywhere.
Oh, for goodness sake. A light dusting and the whole country collapses to its knees.
That's right. And, amazingly, we managed to make it through the blizzard and get to the gig, and so did quite a lot of other people. So that was
fantastic.
Good. And it was a pretty good little contingent there, and they've got a nice little setup at that pub because he's got his own PA set up and his own... he's got his own desk and everything, and fold back and stuff, and then thought quite nice little touches that he's got going on there. So it was a nice little gig. And
there we go. Let's pick up the George III then in Hodgson, and brilliant stuff, great stuff.
He's
and
very busy there. He's got people.
Yep.
He's got a lot of gigs going on there. Yeah.
Excellent. Now, the next one you're doing is March the 1st. I do apologise, and that's at the Players Sports Bar in Southend-on-Sea. Have you played there before?
We have, yeah.
And what's that like? Yeah, I can see that. You played.
That's good. It's a good party atmosphere, and because it's right in the middle of Southend, we usually manage to get a good old crew going along there. So, we're hoping to pack that one out. Actually, the lady who owns that it's her birthday that night, so I'm sure it'll be quite a good night.
We need to get that obviously publicised on our groups, and we'll obviously get that out on Mods and More Facebook group, which is Andy alongside with his lovely wife Nikki. They run that one. I run a couple of sites as well, so we'll get that out there, and we'll copy and paste that and put them onto our sites as well, just to get a bit more interest going there. Right, so when you start off your gigs, obviously you've got a playlist you were talking about before. So do you mix it up a little bit? Do you have some covers in there and some of your own fine good material as well? And if so, what is your go-to sort of tune to get people really interested in you guys and get them on to that dance floor? What do you think the best one is?
I like it. Yeah, we have been starting off with "Come On, Let's Go." I'm a big Weller fan, like probably a lot of people are in this genre. So,
and why not?
I love "Come On, Let's Go." I love the fact that it's just kind of there's no messing about with that song. It just gets going,
Yes.
It's also for a singer. It's quite a nice warm-up song as well. You're not going to be sort of it's a belting song, but it's not vocally it's not sort of one of those ones that really sort of
your blood vessels are not pumping out of your eyes or anything like that yet. That's later on in the gig then. Now I noticed here you've got some. I noticed you've got some a bit about obviously yourselves here on your Facebook group, and you've got some soul, R&B, and the originals. The Who. Now one of my favourite all-time bands. Love the Who. What song do you play of theirs, or songs should I say?
Yeah, we do Can't Explain.
Love it.
Which I know a lot of people do Can't Explain, but that's another one that I really love. A song that I would really we're not doing at the moment, but I'd love to do actually is I'd love to do Won't Get Fooled Again, because I absolutely love that song.
Brilliant. You just got to get that back in. You got to get that back in tune, though, haven't you?
Yeah. I'm trying to work out how we're going to work that one in. Yeah.
Well, apparently now I believe you can actually get a karaoke version, a karaoke backing track of it. I don't know if it's karaoke actually, but it's an actual backing track. I think you can purchase that, which plays behind you, and obviously then you can just play over the top of it. But I believe that the Who have actually said it's probably one of the hardest ones to do live, because you just cannot afford to make any mistakes at all, because obviously you really are reliant on what's playing in the background there. So you've really got to be on your game for that one. But no, my hat's off to you. If you can do that, I'm sure you'll have loads and loads of fans coming down to see that. Absolutely. No pressure. No pressure, Mark. No pressure.
No pressure. I always thought that's the long version where it's got the longer keyboard intros.
That's when you go off and have a quick cup of tea and then come back again.
Go off. You can, so
and a curly whirly as well.
On stage, you can just say hit play and then sort of still finish off your pint before you get on stage. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you can have a curly whirly as well, and you know for a fact that they are so chewy. But you can do that and still have time to have a beer as well. Brilliant. Now you got the Kinks, the Jam, and obviously Wellies you just mentioned there. So did you do one from the Kinks?
Yeah, we do. We do the sort of the usual stuff, which all day, all the night, and You Really Got Me.
Fantastic.
And everybody seems to, they always go down well.
They
everybody
do.
Loves those.
Everyone loves the Kinks.
But one I really love, actually, one we've actually just thrown in, which I don't think so many people do, but we've just thrown in Stop Sobbing.
Okay.
Yeah. A bit of a different one, eh? You know what I'm saying?
That is a different one. I know it myself, but obviously it's not one of their sort of well-known ones, should we say?
No. But it's like,
fantastic.
Everybody knows the Pretenders doing it.
Yes.
And of course, they don't. A lot of people don't realise it's actually a Kinks song.
No, indeed. Yeah, it's Ray Davies penned.
And so we do that. And the other one that I really love that we do is Till the End of the Day.
Oh, now that is one of my personal favourites. I love that one. And then lastly, the Jam as well you've written here. So give us one from the Jam that you do as well.
Yeah, we do Start. We do Town Called Malice.
Everyone does Town Called Malice. It's got to be done.
Everyone does Town Called Malice because if you don't do Town Called Malice, you just get badgered until you do it. Don't you?
You've got to learn it. You've got to do it. And unfortunately, it's one of those go-to songs that everyone knows, everyone loves. And you should do Eating Rifles as well because apparently that is David Cameron's favourite one.
Fantastic. Yeah. There's a damn good reason to not do it. Yeah.
Let's all get political here on the Target Radio show this evening. Right, okay, I'm going to pass you back to Andy. I believe he's got a couple of more serious questions now for you.
I do have a couple more questions. So, Mark.
Hi, Andy.
Hello, mate. If you were going to form the ultimate supergroup, which musicians would you have with you?
Blimey. Ooh.
I hope he mentions me.
Am I singing in this, or is somebody else singing?
That's your choice.
It's not me. I think I might probably take myself out of it. Right. I'd have Marriott on lead vocals.
Bravo.
Yeah.
I would have. I guess to be honest, it's got to be John Entwistle on bass.
Well, nobody else comes close, really. Come on.
This is going to be like the Who and Mooney. I guess I'd have Mooney, but I don't. I mean, I don't know how I'd control him. But I mean, in an ideal world, you'd have Mooney as long as he actually showed up and played.
Well, let's just say for arguments, he's definitely up for it. Okay, we've definitely got a good word there. He's definitely up for it. He said.
Oh, blimey! I mean, it's going to be McClaran on keyboards, I guess, as well. And this is just going to be a Small Faces and Who compilation, I think. To be honest.
There we go.
And I've always, you talk about sort of like rhythm stroke lead. I mean, I've always felt that Steve's pretty underrated as a guitarist, to be honest. People always talk about his voice, which is obviously great. But funnily enough, some of the stuff that we've been doing is a little bit more based on stuff that he did later on, when he was doing Packet 3 and DTs and stuff like that. So, when he, even post Humble Pie days, when he was just literally, running around the country doing 300 gigs a year or something, getting paid, a few quid trying to pay off his tax bill, I think.
Absolutely.
And, well, I don't even know. Yeah, probably wouldn't even need somebody else, but I guess Craddock, I'd probably, if I needed somebody to bail me out the guitar, it would probably be Steve Craddock.
That's a fair substitute.
So there's my super. So I've got Entwistle, Craddock, Steve Marriott, Ian McCulloch, and Mooney on drums. So that'll do me.
No, thanks for that.
Yeah.
Okay, and the next question is, what is the best concert you've been to?
The best concert I've been to. It's a tricky one. That is very tricky.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say probably one of the ones that was the best that I've been to, which I didn't. Probably the best concert I've been to, when I put it into context, is one that I didn't maybe realise was the best I've been to at the time. I was just talk about Marriott, and I saw him in a pub in Kenton back in the sort of it literally is not long before he died. I don't think I quite at the time realised what I was looking at. I was kind of like, oh yeah, because when that's happening, you don't really think you think someone's going to be around forever.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
You kind of think, oh, there'll be other opportunities, and then you kind of think later on, you think, well, actually, probably, I guess in the grand scheme of things, that's quite major because you can't really see him at all now. So,
no.
but other than that, I have to say, man, I've seen James Brown. He's absolutely fantastic. And
love James Brown. You've got to love the exhausting sets that he must have done. My goodness me, the man never stopped.
He just never stops, and it's like I don't know how old he was when I saw him, but he was, he must have been getting there, and it was like the encores just kept. You're thinking like, that's it. It must be finished now. Let's go and get a drink. It's like, hang on a minute, he's coming back. He had more comebacks in that gig than Sinatra did in his whole career.
I think he did indeed. Yeah. Great questions there, Andy. I've got to tell you now, they are brilliant.
Thank you.
But I was just going onto your website now, which obviously is on Facebook, and just type in the Soniks. That's Soniks, because there are a couple of other sort of similar name bands out there, etc.
Yeah.
Okay, go on to there and go on to the reviews, because you've got 5 out of 5 so far, which is good. Okay, but we want to try and get that up by as many as possible, so we'll try and do that for you. Now, Jean Barnes McClaran, any relative? No, maybe not. No.
Who she is.
No idea.
Nothing to do with me.
No idea. Great music and presence on stage. Presence on stage. What, you give presents away now? I think that's presents, as in a different sort.
We give plectrums away if you want. With the Sonics logo on
but wait till you finish using it first, for goodness sake. Now, Jackie Senior Hart recommends you, and she said, great tunes and great guys. And you think you know where I'm probably going with this one. I left the best one till last. Fran Ledra recommends the Soniks. Great band. Hot lead singer, eh? What's all this then?
Interest there.
You're not giving out your pants again, are you? It's the other way round. They're supposed to be throwing their pants at you.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, what's next for the Soniks then?
Well, we had a really good piece of news. I think it was Friday, actually.
Oh, lovely.
We've got a support with the Small Fakers.
Now, I saw that on your home page here, and that's actually happening on the May the 4th.
May the 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you. And I think, as I probably put on there, I mean, probably a lot of people are aware of the Small Fakers, but if they haven't seen them, then definitely worth a look, because it's not like, when you talk about sort of any other guys like the Jam or the Who, obviously there's a lot of different bands you can pick out around the country. But
absolutely, yeah.
With the Small Fakers, they're pretty much the only people out there doing a genuine. I mean, the downside to this is that I can't play any Small Faces tracks on the day.
No.
But the upside is, that venue's opened up this year.
Yeah. So it's a new venue there.
It is, yeah.
So just let everyone know what the venue's called then.
It's called Hideaways Music Venue.
That's correct, and that's on Springfield Road in Chelmsford in Essex. So if you're anywhere near the area, well, indeed, you've got to get tickets for that one, haven't you?
You've got to get tickets for it, yeah, and hopefully we'll fill the place out. It's a big old venue, and they've got a great setup there, because they've got a great, got a good light show, they've got a great PA, and the Fakers will be there, and we'll be doing our best to bring the Soniks, give it a good show alongside them.
Absolutely. And I'll just let everyone know now that if you want a ticket, there are some still available. There's a few, not many though. The costs are £10, £11, with the transaction fee. So it costs you an extra £1, but you can do it online. All you do is head over to www.ctickets.com. That's C as in SEE tickets, one word, .com. And generally just go, boom, quantity, as many as you want. Obviously, if you want one, it's going to cost you £11, and then obviously you continue, and it's absolutely brilliant. There we go. You can get your tickets there and then, but it is over 18s only. It says on the ticket website here, so over 18s only. There we go. That's great. Small Fakers, though. You must be really made up with that.
I'm really made up about that, because I've seen them a couple of times. I think they're fantastic anyway, and it's just a great opportunity for us as well, because it's a big venue. So it holds 600 people, that venue.
Yeah.
So we're hoping it's going to be a great night, and we'll get as many people down there as we can and have a good evening.
Absolutely. Now, I've just had a look here, and if if all the tickets haven't been sold, it's £13 on the door. But I know now from a experience that don't rely on just turning up, because it's a good possibility that it could be sold out way before you actually the gig starts. So I would go on to www.ctickets.com and buy tickets, and it's cheaper as well. So go and buy one today. There we go. Information over there. We've done that part now. Right, so that must be really, really extremely exciting, possibly, but extremely frightening for you guys as well.
Yeah. It's a great opportunity for us, and I'm really looking forward to it. We'll be working on a couple of new numbers that we'll chuck out on there, so they'll be sort of like probably played. We might gig them a couple of times, if we can beforehand. But I'm working on some stuff now that I'm really pleased with. That'll be the follow up. We're looking at trying to get in the studio pretty soon to get the next single out.
Excellent.
And beyond that, there'd probably be another single sort of fairly soon after that, and hopefully then we'll sort of look into the thing of getting a physical CD out there that will be an EP.
Now, I was just about to say EP, because a lot of bands that we speak to, obviously, here on Target Radio shows, obviously, because we try and target brand new music and, most importantly, unsigned bands and artists. There we go, so we tagline dump. A lot of people say to us, we want to go for an album, but an EP sometimes is the sort of go-between. So it's sort of like, your selection of singles, and they throw them together as an EP, which it means, obviously, extra play. So it's like having a single, but with 4, 5 tracks on there. So how many numbers are you going to go for? Are you going for an even, or are you going for an odd number?
I think, it's a really interesting point. I've done quite a lot of research recently. It's obviously it's changing times. You've got that sort of little spike in vinyl, and sort of purists are still sort of quite into vinyl, but obviously you couldn't necessarily print up a lot of vinyl because people, it's not maybe the demand for it. But I think there are still people out there that want some kind of physical product.
I'm with you on that one. I do like something to hold. I mean, obviously, I deal with digital downloads a lot of the time, obviously for the radio side of things, but it's nice to have that sort of physical hold it to your chest and hold it up to the camera, backup as well. So I'm with you on that one.
So although mostly a lot of stuff is on digital, but you've kind of got, there's still quite a lot of people that maybe how should we say, put it politely, people of a certain age that don't really buy into that quite so much.
No, indeed,
they maybe don't want to sign up for Spotify, or they don't, they're not really interested in that. So if they do get music, then maybe they will buy it. Same thing also, yes, as you say, for a band, it's also quite nice to be able to actually have something physical, because it's not so much necessarily just the music, is it? You might have got a nice little inlay where you're telling them about the band, and there's photos and just something like that.
And don't forget, now we don't have smash hits anymore, so you might want to put the lyrics of your songs in there as well. Because I don't know if you're of a certain age when obviously you laughed there, so you must be of a certain age where you remember smash hits, because when new music came out, we tried to guess the words. We didn't have computers back then that told us the lyrics of each song, so we had to wait till the recent smash hits come out, which was I believe produced by one part of the Pet Shop Boys, Neil Tennant, actually. There we go, a little bit of trivia for you. And then you sort of skip to the pages of the songs to find out what you've been singing, and if it was being completely wrong. And now there's websites that actually tell you the right version and the version that you think you may have heard. They're fantastic, especially when it comes to the jam stuff. Like one of your favourites, Andy, was Down in the Tube Station at Midnight. When he goes really into one,
yes,
most people don't actually know what he's saying until to the point today. Most people still don't know what he's saying, especially the live version, because he's totally lost over the music.
Absolutely.
So no, that's brilliant. So I would encourage
the absolutely brilliant Peter Kay sketch about what people think lyrics actually
are. Oh, that is absolutely fantastic. That's on YouTube, isn't it? That is brilliant.
It's brilliant.
That is absolutely
if anybody
brilliant.
hasn't seen that, definitely go and watch it.
Absolutely. And while you're there, then type in the Soniks. Have you got any videos out at the moment?
Yeah, our video for State of Mind's on. It's out. It's on our Facebook page, and it's also on YouTube. Yeah.
Yes, it is. And so look at the Peter Kay one first, and then obviously have a good laugh, and then head over to the Soniks on Facebook and on YouTube. Look at that one, and if you haven't bought the song, go and buy it, because every single penny of that is going over to Mind, which I believe is a well worthwhile charity that needs extra funding day in, day out to help this. Well, to be honest with you, it is an invisible disability, let's be honest. And mental health is very much, you can't see it, you can't touch it. People that know they've got it, Most people that have it, some people don't even know they've got it. So, they're there for all types of mental health problems. And, I applaud you for that one. It's absolutely brilliant that you're doing something and giving back as well, which I think a lot of artists should take note of that and give back as well. And most of them do, to be honest with you. Most of the unsigned bands, they often give back to their fans. They give back to charity. We've got March on the Mods coming up. Most of these guys that are going out there are all unpaid, they're all unsigned, and they're doing it because, A, they really believe in this Teenage Cancer Trust, and B, it's a good platform for them to get noticed as well amongst all the heavyweights out there, your Paul Wellers and, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's great that, we are all clubbing together, we're all doing our little bit for charity. There you go, ran over, off my soapbox and back in my chair. Right, excellent. So, gigs are all coming up, that is brilliant. So, when is your next single going to be released? That is the question.
Yeah, I think it's, with a bit of luck, we'll be back in the studio, I think, probably within the next month.
Fantastic.
And it'll be doing it we'll just do it one at a time. Probably won't be, we'll just be recording that one song at that point.
Yeah.
So,
one at a time. You can't do two at a time.
You can't do two at a time.
No, you can't do two at a time. You might be great and all, but you just can't record two at the same time. For goodness sake.
The guy, I must give a bit of a shout out very quickly to our producer, Dan Hack at Honeywood. I'll give him a bit of a shout out. Honeywood Studios in Basildon.
Hello.
Hello to Dan.
Hello, Dan.
When we went there, because it's quite interesting from any band's point of view of actually recording this genre of music, because obviously. When you listen to a track from, whatever, the 60s, even the 70s, 80s, and you listen to a track now, the huge difference is that every single song that comes out now is compressed.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I won't even say it. But
yes, compressed like a banana smoothie.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the radio version. Yeah, we can't say the other version. Obviously.
And all the dynamic range is gone, and you kind of think, because whenever a track comes out, you kind of think, well, how many people actually listen to track now and go like, oh, what a fantastic guitar line, because it's just all a big mush and it's just a great big wall of sound.
Well, it is. It's all sort of tracked and everything sort of mastered to within a millimetre of its life, really. And there's just no sort of feedback and stuff. And there's no sort of a bum note thrown in for good measure. So it is very perfect now.
From our challenge there was that we wanted to, it's like, how do you sound like a 60s garage band kind of thing, but make a single that's usable within today's digital platform.
Well, I've got the answer. You record it on a reel-to-reel. And for those who don't know what a reel-to-reel is, Google it and use a very, very dodgy microphone. There, sorted. There we go. We've crossed that bridge now.
So yeah, when we went in, that was kind of our brief, and we kind of worked to that brief to get what we got out. So
that is good,
I'm really pleased with that. Pleased with the sound that we got. So we'll be kind of following that track. So we don't. Obviously you're not going to go and say, actually, I want to be really retro, so I'm going to record in 4-track mono.
No.
But at the same time, you want a sound that sounds to a certain extent retro.
Yes.
But it's got to be able to live on today's platforms.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's got to be MP4. Well, actually, most things are recorded in a WAV format, which is CD quality. And then obviously what happens then there is that C word compression is compressed down onto MP3. So it can obviously, it's about half the size. So it can go on to sort of like platforms such as, radio stations or online, obviously onto YouTubes and things like that. So it's all compressed down. Obviously, I'm not going to get too technical with people there, but I know what you're talking about. And you do lose some of the sonic adventure of music when it does get compressed, because you lose bits. You know,
Yeah.
there's no two bones about it. I mean, to really hear the difference, obviously you would have to have really good senses like a dog to actually hear but you still can, you know, as musicians, you're never going to be happy with your final piece. You will let it go because you think it's the best you possibly can do, and then somebody comes along and totally compresses it all down and think, what's the point in doing it? You know, so I'm going to come up with this closing statement to our great interview, Mark, is that if you want to hear something that's not compressed, you want to hear something that is raw, and you want to hear and see something that is absolutely marvellous, I would suggest just going to watch you guys play live.
Excellent.
Yeah.
How's that sound?
I'll second that, yeah.
Well, I think Andy's going to third it as well. Are you, Andy?
Absolutely, yes, I'll third that one.
We got basically we are so lazy now when it comes to downloads, digital downloads, doing this, that, and the other, that we generally don't get off our backsides enough and go out and support these local bands. So if you are local to the Soniks, which is the Essex area of the United Kingdom, and no, they're not all like that on the TV. They are much more than that. Okay, and. You're not wearing that fake eyeliner anymore and the eyelashes, are you now, Mark? No, of course you're not. You've given that all up now. Excellent.
Yesterday, I think.
Only because one fell off when you were playing. And I'm talking about the eyelashes, not the other things. Right. So go and support your live local bands, and if they're not local, go and see them anyway, because they are absolutely fantastic. So everyone on our radio station, please go and support every live band you can possibly go and see. They do it pretty much for peanuts. They do it for beer money. They do it for petrol in their Ford Transit vans, where two of them sit nice and comfortable at the front, and generally the other two are holding all the equipment down in the back of the transit vans, going up and down the road. But the Soniks, and obviously Mark, thank you very much indeed for joining us and coming on tonight. And it's brilliant to have you on board. We will be playing the death of your songs in the future. And please, once you've got that second single almost done, or pretty much done, or
we'll get
actually no, wait until you've actually finished it. We don't want half things finished, you know. We don't want unfinished symphonies. That's for a different genre and different radio station. But as soon as it's done, throw us a copy, and obviously we can tease our audience with part play, or indeed with your full permission, a full play of it, and we'll let people know how to get hold of it as well. But for now, thank you very much indeed.
Cheers, guys. Pleasure.
Thanks for your time, Mark.
Brilliant, Mark. I will leave you to your lovely evening, and thanks once again.
All right, cheers.
Take care now. Thanks, Mark.
Bye now.
Cheers now. Bye bye.